You're learning all these new words and phrases, but as soon as you want to use them, poof, they disappear. Does this sound like you? Well, you're not alone. While a kid might absorb new words as easily as a sponge absorbs liquid, it can take an adult language learner hundreds of times before the word gets digested. And that's due to a phenomenon we call neuroplasticity. Simply put, our brains are more elastic when we're younger, making it easier to learn new things. But this doesn't mean that adults can't learn new things. It just might take a little bit more time. And we can discuss that more at another time. In today's lesson, I'm teaching you how to make vocabulary stick so that you can use it and not lose it. So let's get into it. If you think that the key to vocabulary building is memorization, well, I've got news for you. It's not. Rather than memorize, you need to internalize. So let's now talk about this very important distinction for a moment. Memorizing is about committing something to memory without truly learning it. Memorization can be fleeting, meaning that it might be on your mind for a short period of time, but can easily be forgotten at the drop of a hat. On the other hand, internalizing is when you really, truly learn something. It's been digested, and now it is a part of you. It's something that you don't have trouble recalling, and you can remember with little or no effort. Internalizing words, expressions, phrases allows us to build and retain our vocabulary so that we can actually use it. So let's talk about the steps. The first step is to make a note of any new words or phrases. You need to see it and use it often enough so that it begins to become top of mind. And then you need to make an effort to practice it. That is step 2. I want you to practice the newly acquired vocabulary in the real world. And I'm underlining the importance of the real world because you want to be able to use this vocabulary when you're out and about with colleagues, with friends, on vacation, because that's when it counts, right? That's when it matters. Step 3 is to test your understanding of correct language use by paying attention to the reactions of the native speakers that you use this vocabulary around. And essentially, this is a way of getting corrective feedback. You might even be so bold as to ask for explicit corrective feedback by saying, did I use that expression correctly? Or is this the right word for the right context? Okay. Step 4 is to use the newly acquired vocabulary, which you're now beginning to internalize now that you've tested it out in the real world and received some feedback, explicit or implicit, in different contexts. So use the words in new settings and situations and across various communication contexts. Think about how you can use these expressions and phrases in both casual settings and formal settings. And last but not least, step 5 is to use the same word in different sentences. You might be tempted to use the word in the same sentence across contexts, but I highly encourage you to branch out a little bit. Even though you might have created a really nice sentence and you're really proud of that sentence, try to make as many sentences with that word as possible because the variety will really help you internalize these words. And also, we know that in English, words can be polysemous or polysemous. Both pronunciation is correct. But the point is that they have slightly different meanings, and those nuances can alter the sentence that they're going to be used in. So it's really important to try to make different sentences using that same vocabulary word. So these are the 5 steps to keep in mind on your journey to internalizing the vocabulary. This is how you're going to get the vocabulary to stick and get soaked up by the sponge that is your brain. Remember, start with a few words a week and slowly build your way up to adding more words. Be sure not to overload yourself with brand new vocabulary each day or each week because it's going to cause you to forget the other words that you're trying to internalize. So start with a few words and you can always add more. But be sure every time you add new words that you're not forgetting the other words that you learned the previous week. You want to keep reintroducing those so that you can truly have them be part of your vocabulary and that they're truly internalized, right? It's like keeping your muscles strong and making sure you're training them properly. So to sum up, we discussed making notes of the words that we'd like to add to our vocabulary, and then getting to the practice of internalizing these words as opposed to memorizing them. And we can internalize these words in 4 easy steps. So the first is to practice the words, the phrases, the collocations, and expressions in the real world. Then we want to test the meaning by paying attention to the reaction of the listeners, like native English speakers, if you're chatting with them, for example, and getting some corrective feedback, implicit or explicit. And then you want to use it across different communication contexts and in different settings. And then you want to make sure that you're using the same word in different sentences. And that's it. We rinse and repeat, and you're on your way to acquiring and internalizing new vocabulary. And doing so, you will get the vocabulary to stick. All right, advanced English learners, thank you so much for joining me for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. The full transcript of this lesson can be found on our blog, so be sure to check out advancedenglish.co/blog. And if you're listening to this lesson and you love our podcast, you can leave us a review and you can leave up to 5 stars. So thank you very much. That really helps us out. And I'm going to see you in the next advanced English lesson where we're going to continue advancing your English together. Until then, keep up the awesome work and I will see you soon.